Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Before we get started, I just want to say that this webinar is being recorded, and we will send everyone an email later today with a link to the recording of the webinar and a copy of the presentation slides. First of all, I want to introduce you to Rachel Hynes, and Rachel is the Marketing Manager here at Thesaurus Software. Rachel is going to present today's webinar, Maximising the Value of Your Payroll Services. During today's webinar, Rachel will explore various ways that accountants can automate payroll processes and ultimately become more profitable. Plus, she will also discuss how to price our Connect add-on when rolling it out to your payroll clients, with some tried and tested pricing strategies. We will have a questions and answers section at the end of today's webinar, where we will answer as many questions that you may have. If you have any questions, you can type them into the questions box on your control panel at the side of the screen, and we will try to get through as many questions as possible. Now that all of the housekeeping is out of the way, I'm going to pass you over to Rachel to begin today's webinar.
Great, thanks Holly. And to start off today, I want to give you a very quick introduction to BrightPay. BrightPay is created by Thesaurus Software, the #1 payroll software provider in Ireland. We've also created Thesaurus Payroll Manager, so we have two different payroll systems to choose from. At the moment, our products are used to process the payroll for over 320,000 businesses across Ireland and the UK, and we have been developing payroll software for almost 30 years. We have a 99% customer satisfaction rate, and BrightPay won Payroll Software of the Year awards in both 2018 and 2019. BrightPay is a desktop-based payroll software, and it's available for Windows PCs. But we do also have an optional cloud add-on called BrightPay Connect. All BrightPay licenses include 10 activations, and this means that payroll processing is possible by up to 10 users or from 10 different locations. This is very handy if you have a number of employees working from home, all needing access to the payroll software. Just to explain Connect a little bit more, it's an optional add-on that works alongside both BrightPay Payroll and Thesaurus Payroll Manager. With both BrightPay Connect and Thesaurus Connect, the payroll is still processed on the desktop applications, but the payroll information is stored online on a secure cloud server. We'll have a look at BrightPay Connect later in the webinar, but I suppose just to add as well that there are some differences in how Connect works with both Thesaurus and BrightPay. But for the most part, it's very similar, and I'll mention some of the differences as I go along. So to start off today, I want to look at the title of the webinar, Maximising the Value of Your Payroll Services. Now, I want you to think about why you want to maximise the value. What is the ultimate goal? And I think for any business, the primary goal is to simply make a profit. But I suppose the key question is, can payroll be profitable? I know that many of you would say that offering payroll as a service is not necessarily cost effective and that it can be a very time-consuming process. And really, in the past, this has been the case. First, there's manually entering employee hours into the payroll software, and then the constant email communications with clients, whether it's sending reports and payslips or getting final approval for the payroll. There can be a lot of work involved. Even basic tasks, such as getting information from your clients, can be a nightmare. And that was all before 2020 happened. With the wage subsidy schemes and the many other stresses associated with lockdowns and working from home, some accountants are questioning if it's worth continuing to offer payroll as a service to their clients. I'm here today to tell you that it is worth your while, and not just so that you can offer a fully rounded service to your clients, but believe it or not, payroll can and should be a very profitable one. Offering payroll services is all about efficiency, and today, automation and integration in payroll software can streamline your payroll processes better than ever before. Automation should be easy, and with the right tools, it is. When you automate those time-consuming tasks, you can enhance your productivity and get back that precious time in the day. So let's start with 3 different things that you should look for in your payroll software so that you can automate payroll tasks. And the first is self-service portals. Generally speaking, accountants email reports and employees' payslips to clients each pay period, which, aside from security issues, can be quite a laborious and time-consuming task. With a client self-service portal such as BrightPay Connect, payslips and payroll reports are automatically available to clients once the payroll is finalized, and this eliminates the need to email these to the client every pay period. Instead, the client can simply log in to an online client portal to access everything they need at their fingertips. This, in turn, provides many time-saving advantages for accountants, bookkeepers, and payroll bureaus. As well as the client, with the right payroll solution, the client's employees can also access their own GDPR-compliant self-service portal. Again, with Connect, employees can log in to their portal on an internet browser, but they also have the option to log in through a free employee app on their tablet or smartphone. Employees can view a payslip library with a full history of their payslips. Online payslip access eliminates time spent distributing payslips to employees each pay period, so there's no need to print or email payslips. Instead, payslips are automatically available to employees either on the payday or maybe one day before the payday. And for bureaus, this offers massive time savings and increased productivity. Another way that you can be more efficient is by increasing the responsibilities that your clients have as part of the payroll process. Accurately recording your client's employee hours can be a very cumbersome task. Most accountants that I talk to receive their clients' payroll information in a spreadsheet, or sometimes even in the body of an email or over the phone. The payroll processor then needs to re-enter this pay information into the payroll software, leaving a lot of room for mistakes and human error along the way. And of course, there are the wasted hours of re-entering information that's already simply sitting in front of you. With BrightPay Connect, the online client dashboard has a client payroll entry feature where the client can enter or upload the payroll information for their employees and any additions and deductions for that pay period. Once the payroll bureau or accountant has reviewed the information that has been entered by the client, the payroll data can be synchronized and pre-populated in BrightPay payroll software on your desktop. This eliminates the need to re-enter the payroll information into the software and the potential errors associated with manual data entry. Bureaus also have the ability to send a payroll summary to the client for their approval before finalizing the payroll. and this works in a very similar manner. Clients can review and authorize the payroll run at the click of a button through their secure online portal. Ultimately, your client becomes 100% accountable for making sure that the payroll information is correct before the payroll is even finalized. Last but certainly not least then is the value added extras for clients. Online client dashboards like BrightPay Connect can include some very handy HR features that can help your clients with managing annual leave, distributing HR documents and resources, and even communicating with employees. It's very easy to pass these on to your clients for an additional fee, as these are tangible benefits for your clients. And a bonus is the client can also improve workflows and save money on expensive HR systems. Other things that the employee can do on their employee app is view and update their personal details, access employment documents, and even view their annual leave calendar and their leave balance remaining, all from their smartphone. They could even request annual leave on the go, and personally, that's my favorite feature with my own employee app, just being able to request annual leave wherever I am from my mobile. The online flexibility of a smartphone app gives employees a better experience while reducing administrative time for both payroll bureaus and clients. You no longer need to deal with employee requests for past or lost payslips or answering leave balance inquiries. So there we have 3 ways that you can automate your payroll workflows. And luckily for BrightPay users, you can have access to BrightPay Connect to unlock payroll efficiency at your fingertips. With BrightPay Connect's cloud add-on, you can also have access to automated cloud backups, an online dashboard for you and the client, and employee self-service portals that have so many benefits, not just for you, but also for your clients and their employees. So rather than continue talking about what Connect can do, I'm going to jump into the software to show you how it works. So here we are in BrightPay Payroll software, and when I opened the payroll, I received an alert, and this is a new feature that we have added to the payroll software. Working in conjunction with Connect, BrightPay will let you know if someone else is still working on the employer file. Here we can choose to be notified when the other person has finished, or we can choose to continue anyway. And if you choose this option, it will notify the other user and prevent them from synchronizing any pending changes to BrightPay Connect. As well as that, BrightPay Connect will also check to see if there is a more up-to-date version of the employer file. In other words, where someone else in your organization worked on that employer, or maybe even you worked on the employer from a different PC. Here, it's telling me that a more recent version of the payroll is available. So essentially, I'm not using the most up-to-date version of the payroll. I can download and use the most recent version, or continue using the version that I'm trying to open. And I suppose both this alert and the previous alert are security features for where the payroll is being processed by multiple users or from different PCs to prevent any conflicting copies. As I mentioned earlier, with BrightPay Connect, the payroll is still processed on the desktop application of BrightPay, but the payroll information is stored online on a secure cloud server. BrightPay Connect will automatically back up your payroll data to the cloud where it is stored online, and a chronological history of all backups is kept, and you have the option to restore a cloud backup at any time if needed. And this means that you won't lose your payroll data. For now, I'm going to go to Employer Dashboards. And this is the self-service dashboard for both you and the client. Here, the client can see a summary of their employer details, amounts due to revenue, and any upcoming employee leave. We also have notifications along the left of the screen. For an example, if an employee has requested annual leave. And also on the notifications panel, we have a request to approve the payroll and another to submit the payroll entry. And I'm going to come back to these two in a minute. It's also important to note that this is probably the key difference between BrightPay Connect and Thesaurus Connect. This bureau functionality to request the payroll entry and approve the payroll run is only available with BrightPay Connect and not Thesaurus Connect. You will see these tabs across the top of the screen, and the first one here is Employees. And this is where you can come in and click into each individual employee's profile to access payslips and view their personal contact details. Payslips will automatically be available on Connect as soon as the payroll is finalized. So there's no need to print or email payslips. Connect distributes the payslips to the client and the employees automatically for you. The next tab is Reports, and any report that is set up on the payroll software will appear here. So once the payroll has been finalized, your clients can log in here and run their own payroll reports. Again, there's no need for you to email the reports to the client each pay period. Next is a company-wide employee calendar with an overview of all employees' past and scheduled leave. So it's an easy way for your client to keep track of who is on leave and when. And when leave is added to the calendar, it will automatically synchronize to BrightPay on your desktop. Revenue payments also flow through from the payroll software to Connect, which means that the client can log in to their own online dashboard to view exactly how much they owe to revenue without needing to contact you. They can also click into each individual month to view how these amounts are calculated. The final tab then is Documents, and here the client can upload documents and resources to distribute to their employees through a secure online portal. So here we have contract of employment and a company handbook, for example. If I go back to the dashboard again, as I said, I want to come back to these notifications again. The bottom one here is Submit Payroll Entry for Week 6. As I touched on earlier, you can send a request to the client for payroll information. And here the client can enter their employees' payment information for this particular pay period. There's two options here. The client can click into each individual employee, and this is very handy if the payroll is consistent each week, but maybe there's one employee that's a little bit different this week. Maybe they worked overtime hours that need to be added, or if they're entitled to a bonus or commission, for example. I'm just going to go back here, and the second option is where the client can import all of the hours, payments, additions and deductions for all of their employees at the same time. And this is probably the easier option where the hours change from week to week. The client can simply upload the employee timesheets, for example. And here they can also notify you of any new starters. The client has to enter all of the employees' personal, employment and payment information to save you chasing after all of this information. And the best part is You just need to click a button so that the employee is automatically set up on the payroll software, ready to process the payroll. Back in my dashboard again, you can also send a payroll approval request to the client before the payroll is finalized. This will send a payroll summary to the client through their secure online portal. The client can review and approve the payroll, or if there's something that's not right, they can reject it and add a comment to let you know why the figures need to be amended. Essentially, it puts onus on the client for signing off on the payroll, and there's a full audit trail for the Bureau that keeps a record of all interactions that happen between you and the client. So that's it for the client's online dashboard. We have all of this information with all of the different tabs, and you have access to this information as well. But for you as a Bureau, you also have an additional layer of information available. So if I click on this back button at the top left of the screen, it brings me to the Bureau level settings. So here I'm logged in as Smart Accountants, and this is where I have an overview of all of my clients. Within the Users tab then, this is where I can set up both colleagues and clients. And you can set up user permissions. So for example, if the client has a HR manager, you can set them up to approve employee requests, but without them having access to the payroll information. The next tab here is Requests, and this is where you can send requests to your clients and keep a record of all client interactions. So as we saw on the client's dashboard, there was a request for the payroll information and another one for the payroll approval. And another point to note as well is that you can batch send these to all of your clients at the same time. So you don't need to do it one by one for each client. The next tab is Billing. And I suppose just to add, Connect works on a monthly subscription. And you can come in here at any time to view your subscription status, your subscription usage, and you can access your billing account as well. And finally, in the Settings tab, this is where you can add your own Bureau branding. So when the client is logging into Connect, for example, they will see your name and logo building on that relationship that you have with your clients. So that's the online employer dashboard. And as I mentioned, employees also have access to a self-service portal, which they can log into on a smartphone and tablet app. And the app is available to download for free on any Android or iOS device. The employee will receive notifications on their device when new payslips are available, and they'll also get a notification when a HR document has been shared with them, or when an annual leave request has been approved. If I click on the notification, it will open the app, and here you can see the employee has visibility of how much annual leave they have remaining, and they can also view their notifications and click into them. Within the documents, the employee can view payroll documents and HR documents and resources. And I can go one step further. I can go into the payroll documents, and here the employee has a payslip library, which they can view and download all historical payslips. The employee can click into the calendar, and here they can view all past and scheduled leave, or they can also request leave by clicking on the plus sign at the top right of the screen. And finally, employees can view their personal details that you have on file for them, and they can request edits to these details, for example, if they moved to a new house. So it's a really powerful app with self-service features so that the employees can do a lot of the admin heavy work themselves, rather than coming to you, for example, for lost payslips or leave balance inquiries. You have now seen how Connect works and the benefits that it can bring, not just to you, but also to your clients and their employees. But going back to the question that I asked you at the start of today's webinar, how can you use it to improve profitability? Many of your clients might at first not particularly value payroll services. It's a job that seems almost automatic and simple. And that is, of course, far from the truth, especially in today's payroll world, which has been made even more complex with wage subsidy schemes. The simple fact is, payroll work requires a high degree of professional skill with little margin for error. But the misperception around payroll services has traditionally made it very difficult to offer it profitably. Fortunately, as we saw from the many benefits, Connect gives you the opportunity to diversify your payroll offering and potentially charge for a new range of services. Over the past few months, we have been speaking to a number of Connect customers to see what approach they took when rolling it out to their clients. And interestingly, feedback from a large portion of bureaus is that they are not charging their clients because they save so much time and have massively improved their payroll processing capabilities. Others have decided to simply pass on the face value charge to their clients. But overall, almost all responses fell into one of four different categories. Option 1 is low cost but high value. Connect is priced based on the number of employees in a particular month. This pricing structure means that a bureau will be charged the same amount for one client with 10 employees and 10 clients with one employee each. And as you take on more clients and employees, the cost per employee goes down. The beauty of this pricing structure means that your outgoing costs are kept low, but because it's a great product, you can charge clients a set fee per employee. The more clients you add, the more profitable and efficient your service offering will become. Option 2 is a slightly bolder pricing decision. Simply add the cost of Connect into your standard payroll fees. That is, offer it as a freebie. Giving something away at no cost helps to encourage buying habits in clients. The more they rely on you, the more you do for them, the quicker they will turn to you when they need advisory services or pension advice, for example. You may also decide to mix a number of these pricing strategies. For example, you may decide to offer the first year for free to allow clients to buy into the new payroll process, and then in year 2, start charging for it. Option 3 is using Connect as part of a customer referral strategy. Many businesses spend large amounts of money on marketing, and yet what really makes up a person's mind is something much simpler: a word of mouth recommendation. Believe it or not, word of mouth is the primary influencing factor behind 20 to 50% of all purchasing decisions. In fact, it's highly likely that you will have already received a substantial portion of your clients through referrals. Giving customers a reason to refer your services can make all the difference. You can keep it simple and just offer a cash referral fee for bringing a new client on board. But interestingly, as studies have shown, non-cash incentives tend to be better at encouraging referrals. That's because tangible, non-cash incentives are more difficult to put a price on. If you opt for a referral structure, reach out personally to those clients that you believe will make good referrers. Make your current customers happy, and this is a great way to secure loyal customers for the long haul. And by tying Connect to a referral scheme, you can quickly bulk up your fees from payroll processing while also lowering your price per employee as you add more businesses to your setup. Lastly, a simplistic approach is to build in the cost of Connect into your annual fees. Some accountants and bureaus charge an annual fee for their services. A slight increase in the annual fees could be a simplistic way of introducing the benefits of an online portal for both the client and their employees. And I suppose just a few other points to note. No matter what pricing structure you choose, it will count for nothing if it's not communicated effectively. Be clear about why your pricing and service offering is changing for the better. Explain what the client and their employees can expect to gain from accessing their payroll in the cloud. It's also important to be realistic. If you charge extra, keep your prices as realistic as possible. Take into account your direct costs, expenses, and resources. If you offer Connect for free, just make sure that you're not operating at a loss. The simple fact is, if you can increase the speed at which you process payroll, you will automatically increase your profitability, regardless of the pricing structure that's used. You need to maximize the time in your workday that brings in the revenue. You need to keep an eye out for payroll software providers that make your life easier when it comes to payroll tasks, rather than getting sucked into basic admin work that takes up so much time in the day. And BrightPay Connect is the perfect solution. You will no longer be wasting time on manual administrative tasks, and instead automating tasks through the software and delegating tasks to your clients. Ultimately, Connect can help you use your time more effectively, enabling you to extend your reach to a wider network of clients. The Connect pricing structure makes it easy for you to expand your client base. It can grow as you grow, and you only pay for what you use. There's no better time like the present for you to transform your payroll into the seamless and profitable service that it can and should be. You can unlock the many benefits that will enhance your payroll services, strengthen client relationships, and increase profits. So that brings me to the end of the webinar. And I know I covered a lot on today's webinar, but as Holly mentioned at the start today, we will send everyone an email later on, and this will include a copy of the slides and a link to the recording of today's webinar. So it's now time for the questions and answers, and I see quite a few questions have come in already. If you do have any questions, feel free to type them into the questions box on your screen, and we will try to get through as many questions as possible. So Holly, you've been keeping an eye on the questions as they're coming in. So do you want to read out the questions and I'll answer them?
Yes, thanks, Rachel. Yeah, I've been monitoring the questions as they've come in, and there is a lot to get through. So we'll get started. The first one here is, if employees have access to the self-service, will the employer receive all pay slips as well?
Yeah, so I suppose if you're processing the payroll from a bureau perspective, once the payroll has been finalized, the employer or the client will automatically have access to the pay slips. But for the employees, then they can get them either one day before the payday or maybe on the payday. you specify when the employees get the payslips when you're setting it up. So yes, to answer the question, both employees and the employer do get the payslips, but the employer gets it that little bit earlier.
That's great. Thanks, Rachel. The next question we have is, can you turn off holiday function?
Yeah, so I suppose a lot of employers do already have their own annual leave management systems in place. So I suppose, yeah, if you do want to continue using your own annual leave system and wish to not use the one in Connect, you can turn it off in the settings. And I suppose just to note, the calendar does still appear for both the employer and the employees, but it just means that the employee can't request annual leave or anything like that.
Thanks, Rachel. Next question. How can we import data from another software to BrightPay?
I suppose it depends on the payroll software that you're currently using. We do have migration specialists that can help you with importing your data from a different payroll software provider. There can be a little bit of work to it, but they can just help you with that free migration consultation that you can book.
Thanks, Rachel. Can historic payslips be uploaded to the employee portal?
So this one, I suppose it depends. So if you've been using BrightPay or Thesaurus Payroll Manager in the past, then yeah, you can upload historical data. However, if you're using a different payroll software and have just moved to BrightPay, you can only upload the payslips from when you've started using BrightPay. I suppose there is the manual way. You could use the HR documents to manually upload the different documents. There would be a lot of work involved in that, and they don't appear in the payslip library. But it's just if you do want payslips from a different payroll provider up there, there is a workaround for it.
That's good to know, Rachel. Thank you. The next question is, can Thesaurus also check to see if another user is using the payroll?
Yeah. So this comes back to the new functionality that we introduced just this year. So both with BrightPay and Thesaurus, if you're using Connect, once you open the payroll, it will check to see if another user is using the payroll or if there's a more up-to-date version of the payroll. But yeah, to answer the question, it is available with Thesaurus Payroll Manager as well.
Thanks, Rachel. Is the option for the client to enter the payroll available with Thesaurus?
No, and I suppose this is kind of one of the key differences between Thesaurus Connect and BrightPay Connect. So just those bureau features for the client to enter the payroll and to be able to approve the payroll, it's only available with BrightPay. So I suppose Thesaurus Connect only has one-way integration where information is passed from the payroll software to Connect. But with BrightPay, there's two-way communication. So Connect can also pass information back down to the payroll software.
The next question is the Connect app available for both BrightPay and Thesaurus?
Yes. So in either the Play Store or the App Store, it's the same app whether you're using BrightPay or Thesaurus. It's just simply called Employee App. But yeah, it works with both BrightPay Connect and Thesaurus Connect.
Great, Rachel, thanks. And to add to that question, there is another one. Do the employers have an app to see info, or is it just for their staff?
No, unfortunately, the app on the smartphone or tablet is only available to employees. Employers do have obviously the portal that they can log into on a browser. And I suppose it is worth noting that you could log in to the employer portal on your phone on the browser and just add it to your home screen. I know I have a few websites set up like that where there's no app available just for quick, easy access.
Just like a shortcut then on the device then, Rachel, is it?
Exactly, yeah.
Perfect, thank you. The next question, is there a free trial to try payroll processing?
Yeah, so with both BrightPay and Thesaurus, there is a 60-day free trial where there's no limitations to the software. You can do whatever you want. There's also no obligation to buy, and you don't need to enter credit card details to download the trial. I suppose in relation to Connect, there's no free trial, but because you pay 1 month in arrears, you can always try it out for 1 month just to see how you get on and if it's something that you're interested in.
Great, thanks, Rachel. The next question, for a bureau, can more than one staff connect BrightPay to the Connect platform with their own user login?
Yeah, definitely. So you can set up different users. So it might be different colleagues in the office where there's more than one person synchronizing the payroll to Connect. So that's where that new functionality comes in as well, where it just prevents the other user from creating conflicting copies if you're both in the employer file at the same time.
That's great. The next question is there a place for basic processing instructions on BrightPay?
I suppose with BrightPay, the software is very easy to use. So we do run demos of BrightPay on a daily basis, and they're a great starting point to find out how to process the payroll from start to finish. They also cover setting up an employer, as well as I suppose we do have online documentation as well, where it has step-by-step instructions on how to do almost all queries that we get in relation to BrightPay.
Thanks, Rachel. The next question is there a cost to use Connect? And if so, how much is it?
Yeah, so I briefly referred to this and I'll bring it up on my screen here. So because it's an optional add-on, there is an additional cost for Connect. And Connect is priced on a monthly subscription based on usage in that month. So you're only ever paying for what you use. Connect customers are invoiced monthly in arrears based on the number of employees that you have on your payroll within that month. So for example, if you have 10 employees on your payroll for a particular month, you will be paying just €3.90 for that month. And then if the number of employees fluctuates the following month, again, the price will change to reflect this.
Thanks, Rachel. Another question on Connect. Is Connect also available for 10 devices?
No, so I suppose with the payroll software, the payroll licenses can be installed on 10 different devices. But because Connect is cloud-based, it's designed so that you can have as many users as you want. So it might be just be yourself, or it could also be if you have 5 or 6 different colleagues who are also processing payroll, they could be on it with their own user access. You could also have your clients, HR managers for your clients. You can have as many users as you want. There's no limit to that.
Great, thanks, Rachel. Could you please just confirm on the BrightPay Connect security and that employees can only access their own data and information via this method, i.e. they won't have access to other employer data or information?
Yes. So I suppose there's kind of essentially 3 levels. Employees only have access to their own information, their own pay slips, their own calendar, their own personal details. Taking it a step up from that, the employer then or the client has access to all of the employer information plus all of the employee information. And the third level then is the bureau level. So the bureau has access to all of their clients and all of their clients' employees.
That's great, Rachel. The last question then we have is what does it mean if the employee is marked as confidential?
Yeah, so this all comes back to the users and the various user level settings. So it just means that you can set up all users so that they only have access to the information needed. So I suppose you can mark employees as confidential. So this might be directors, for example, where the HR person might be processing the payroll for all the employees, but you still don't want them to have access to the director's data.
That's great, Rachel. And I think that's everything that we have time for today.
Brilliant. Um, So yeah, I suppose just to add as well, if you do have any other questions, feel free to send us an email and we will be glad to help. We will send out the follow-up email later today, and it will include the link to the recording of today's webinar and a copy of the slides as well. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us for today's webinar, and we hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.